The Newsline.
Hello and welcome back to Newsline, brought to you by People's TV. In today's news commentary, we draw attention to several developments in the Middle East, the United States, and the rest of the world. As many of you know, President Donald Trump and his administration are moving decisively to strengthen border control and tighten eligibility for federal benefits in order to prioritize the interests of American citizens. The administration contends that by limiting benefits for certain immigrant populations, they are improving the standard of living for U.S. taxpayers. Starting this year under the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, legally arriving refugees and asylees will be barred from receiving food stamps, SNAP, benefits, a shift that removes eligibility for many individuals who previously could receive this assistance. In parallel, older exclusions continue to bar undocumented immigrants from SNAP benefits. By changing benefit eligibility rules, the administration seeks to reduce dependency on welfare among new arrivals and emphasize self-sufficiency. A telling example comes from Denmark. In 1992, the Danish parliament admitted 321 stateless Palestinians under special legislation. By 2019, data show around 64% of the original group had criminal records and a notable share were full-time welfare recipients. The second generation, their children, numbered nearly 1,000, and a significant number also had convictions. Critics argue this illustrates the long-term cost of welfare dependency when integration fails. While the Danish case differs in many respects from the U.S., it is often cited in debates over immigration, welfare and integration. Turning our attention to France, according to recent opinion surveys, President Emmanuel Macron's popularity remains at historic lows. One October 2025 poll places his approval rating at just 19%, while another reports only 14% of French citizens trust him to effectively address France's challenges. Clearly, public dissatisfaction is widespread. The majority of this discontent stems from concerns about governance, economic performance, and political instability. However, Macron's foreign policy stance regarding the Middle East, particularly France's recognition of a Palestinian state, may also have contributed to the decline, adding to the growing unease among segments of the French public and deepening existing political divisions. Concerning the Gaza Strip, Hamas has been given a clear ultimatum via Qatar and Egypt to cease activity and withdraw their fighters from areas under the IDF within 24 hours, or else the IDF will launch a deadly strike targeting the terrorists remaining in the area controlled by the IDF. This directive has been issued in the light of the large number of Palestinian civilians who have arrived in the area and the necessity to facilitate them and restore the infrastructure in the area so that civilians will be able to resettle. Mediators in Cairo and Doha, acting on behalf of Egypt and Qatar and relaying a U.S. proposal, informed Hamas that it must withdraw its fighters from areas currently under Israeli control within a 24-hour window or risk being targeted by Israeli forces. The ultimatum was presented as part of an effort to de-escalate fighting, open safe humanitarian access, and allow crews to repair and restore infrastructure so Palestinian civilians in those zones can be assisted and eventually resettle. Reports indicate mediators tied the deadline to steps intended to protect large numbers of displaced civilians and to facilitate searches for remains and other urgent relief operations. Some follow-up activity, including the handover of 2 hostage remains, occurred as the deadline approached. Focusing our attention on Iran next, an Iranian official has admitted in a recent video that despite billions of dollars being invested to convert the Japanese to Islam, only one person has converted in the past 6 years, and that individual was a foreign worker in Japan. This confession exposes the extent to which radical Islamists are willing to go in their attempts to spread jihadism globally, even while their own nations struggle internally. The operation, reportedly funded by Qatar, whose immense wealth far exceeds its population, is a reminder of how that wealth is often used to promote jihadist ideologies rather than improve lives. The Japanese, on the other hand, deserve commendation for resisting the influence of such a destructive cult. Focusing on Israel, despite ongoing diplomatic challenges with several Arab states, Israel continues to maintain strong trade and strategic ties with countries around the world. In the latest development, India is preparing to award a contract worth approximately 8,000 crore, roughly US $900 million, to Israel Aerospace Industries for converting 6 Boeing 767 commercial aircraft into mid-air refueling tankers for the Indian Air Force. These tankers are intended to provide India with expanded air-to-air refueling capability, enabling its fighter jets to operate with greater endurance and range. India and Israel have been strategic partners for many years, and this deal would further deepen their defense and industrial cooperation. Speaking of Sudan, the situation is catastrophic. Independent reporting and satellite imagery document mass killings and large-scale atrocities in Darfur and other regions, and the U.S. State Department concluded in January 2025 that forces of the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, committed genocide in parts of Darfur. Investigations by Amnesty International, Reuters and others have found weapons and equipment in RSF hands that appear to have been re-exported via or supplied through the United Arab Emirates, and video footage circulating online shows captured or looted arms in militia and RSF bases, material that human rights monitors say helps explain how the violence is being sustained. Turning to Sudan, the situation there is horrific, with radical Islamist militias committing large-scale massacres and atrocities against civilians. The world has largely remained silent, even as human rights organizations confirm that these crimes amount to genocide. This stands in stark contrast to Gaza, where Israel, a sovereign state defending itself against a terrorist organization, continues to face global criticism despite adhering to the laws of war. The IDF consistently warns civilians before launching strikes, uses precision-guided munitions to minimize collateral damage, and provides safe corridors for evacuation wherever possible. In Sudan, however, civilians are butchered without warning or mercy. As international media coverage grows, reports continue to surface exposing the involvement of the UAE in arming Sudanese militias, with the Sudanese army displaying captured weapons believed to have originated from UAE supplies. Yet, outrage against such atrocities remains minimal compared to the disproportionate scrutiny directed at Israel. Speaking of Lebanon, we previously warned that an Israeli military operation targeting Hezbollah terrorists inside Lebanese territory was becoming increasingly likely. In response, the Lebanese government has now announced the deployment of 10,000 soldiers to the southern region, near the Israeli border, an area long dominated by Hezbollah activity. This move, though long overdue, is a step in the right direction. It reflects growing recognition within Lebanon that Hezbollah's actions have dragged the country into repeated conflicts and economic ruin. While the IDF remains prepared to neutralize threats emanating from the north, Lebanon's decision to finally assert some control over its southern border could help prevent further escalation, if implemented with genuine resolve. Turning our attention to Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney has declared that Canada will honor any order issued by the International Criminal Court, ICC, to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu if he sets foot in the country. In response, renowned legal scholar and Harvard Professor Emeritus Alan Dershowitz condemned the statement, vowing to personally defend Netanyahu and take legal action against anyone involved in executing such an arrest. Dershowitz further criticized Canada's recent decision to recognize a sovereign Palestinian state, calling it politically immature and a betrayal of democratic principles. His reaction underscores the widening divide between Western nations over Israel's right to defend itself and the growing politicization of international justice. If this report helped you see the situation on the ground clearly, don't keep it to yourself. Like, share, and subscribe to People's TV, where truth has no agenda, and facts speak louder than spin.
Subscribe us for more details.